What is up? Today, let's use some of the new features on FrameCV 1.1 to build a cool sounding saw plug. This is not an exhaustive list of all of the new features I added to FrameCV with update 1.1. For that, just hop on over to the Propellerhead shop and check out the FrameCV rack extension page, and you'll find all of the detailed info right there. I'll link to that in the description down below. But for now, let's check out what we'll be working with today. We'll change this lead into this plug. And to make it happen, we'll use FrameCV as an advanced envelope generator. And to build that kind of setup, first up you'll need to pull up a FrameCV into the combinator that contains, in our case, the saw lead. And we'll make use of a new feature on FrameCV 1.1 right away, which is that FrameCV now supports node input. To send nodes to a utility inside a combinator in Reason, simply select the utility in the programmer on the combinator and hit the Receive Nodes tab right here. And as you can see, whenever I hit a node on my keyboard now, FrameCV will trigger a cycle, just like it would if we hit the trigger button. Before setting up the first envelope, I'll bring up the position to 100% so that the default state of the envelope is at the very end. And I'll bring up the speed all the way as well, since we're building a very snappy envelope. If you look closely, you'll notice that there's now also the option to sync our speed to the sequencer tempo, but we won't be doing this now since the envelope doesn't need to be synced up with the bars and the quarter notes of our song. So with that out the way, let's set up our first envelope, and we'll just use a very simple one for now, so we can hear what the effect is, and we'll hook it up to the amp level on the subtractor, which is generating our saw wave. Let's make use of the curve editing features of FrameCV, so we'll curve this up a little bit, and we'll add another frame right about here, so that we have kind of a decay happening right here, and then there's a bit of more room to breathe and for the plug to kind of release here at the end. Already sounds a lot more interesting. Let's make use of another new feature, which is on the back here in the scale section. We can now send node velocity to the scale of our individual mods. So if you noticed here on the front, we now have some new settings which are unique for each mod. So we can bring down the scale on mod 1, for example, and in this case it will reduce the level of our plug. But instead of doing that manually or automating this, we can use node velocity by bringing up the knob here on the back. And now, the harder I hit the note, the louder the plug will be, which is a very nice way to add some variation. Cool, let's use mod 2 on the filter frequency to add a bit more flavor to this plug. As you can see, the filter 1 frequency is all the way at the top, which is no problem now because there's a new switch on FrameCV, which is polarity. We can now switch a mod from unipolar to bipolar. Like I said, these switches are unique for each mod, so mod 1 will still be in unipolar mode when we switch mod 2 to bipolar. In bipolar mode, we have this nice kind of zero reference line, which reflects the current state of the parameter which the mod is connected to, in our case, the filter 1 frequency. For this plug, we want to reduce the frequency whenever we hit a note, and we can do this by just going down right here. And I'll go down pretty quickly so we have a very snappy kind of effect. Then I go down all the way up to right here, and then I'll apply a cool little trick which you can use on your plugs, which is to, after you've had the initial kind of snap, go back up in frequency. So you get a bit more of a clear and bright sound, but you don't lose any impact, because you still go all the way down at the start. This is quite drastic though, because we had 100% scale, so I'll reduce that to about 60. And we have a nice plug. Obviously we've lost some volume in the process of cutting some frequencies and modulating the amp level, so I'll just compensate for that and bring the level up a little bit. And another thing that we can do to add even more flavor to this plug is we can now hook up some CV signals to our scale, which are obviously unique per mod, but we'll use the scale input on mod 2. And let's hook this up to the LFO on the subtractor, for example. Of course, you could use whatever here, but this is just very convenient because it's right here. And now the low frequency oscillator 1 on the subtractor is modulating the scale on the mod that is modulating the frequency on the subtractor again. Which adds this very nice kind of flow, especially when we have a real melody going. Obviously the effect is a bit too extreme right now, but we can fix this by using the trim knob on the back. And there you are. This is how you use FrameCV as an envelope generator to create your own custom curves and modulate, for example, a subtractor, but you can use it on any device that accepts CV inputs to create some very nice plugs or what have you. Thanks for watching and have a good one of whatever you're having.